If you're planning a cruise on board Norwegian Getaway, this video is for you. Welcome back to Travels Large. My name is Josh, and tonight I am joined Caden, who has joined me during his spring break. We're finishing up a 7-night Bermuda cruise. If you're new here, like I said, I'm Josh. I've been traveling for over 10 years. This is my son's 10th cruise, so he's been traveling a lot as well. So together, we're going to go over what went well, what could have went better, and some tips and tricks for your trip if you choose to sail on the Norwegian Getaway. Well, first I'm going to start with a little facts about the Norwegian Getaway. Norwegian Getaway is a decent-sized ship in today's terms. It has a room for 4,000 passengers on board. This ship entered service in February of 2014. This is actually my second cruise on board, and technically his second cruise. Because where were you the first time around?
My mom's belly.
You were in your mom's belly. So yeah, when his mom was pregnant, we came on board. We had a different room. This time we're sailing in a Oceanview room, but that time we were doing a mini suite. So we've seen a few different things. So
yeah, we're at the front of the ship to where the window's right there and the bathroom's right there. Why do they have to be so far away?
The window to the bathroom?
Yes.
I don't know. With the way the seas have been, I don't like how far away they are. What do you think about boarding, Caden? What would you have to say about boarding the cruise? Do you think it went pretty fast?
It did go pretty fast for us, but for everyone else, it took a couple of hours.
Why did it go fast for us?
Oh, I don't remember. Remember, we've been on this cruise for like 7 days.
That's fair. I booked this cruise as a casino offer, so we got priority embarkation, as well as a few other nice little things with that. The sail away was actually delayed by 6 hours because of weather on the incoming cruise, but we still got to the port. Our original boarding time was 12. We ended up getting on the ship at 2:30, so honestly, all in all, it wasn't bad at all. We were able to get on board pretty quick. Caden was able to get to his ice cream rather fast.
You said delayed 6 hours. That's 2 hours and 30 minutes.
So one thing I would say about the boarding process is the terminal in Manhattan, which was Pier 88, is where we got on the ship at. Kind of had a strange design to it. It was long ways instead of the other way where you normally walk in and there's counters across. You have to kind of walk through people to get to certain different boarding areas. Just kind of heads up on that. But this is the fastest we ever boarded, like Caden said. Caden, on board, what type of demographics do you see? Is it a lot of old people that are retired sailing, or do you think there's families?
Oh, there is families. Remember when we were sitting in the buffet, there's a big old family next to us playing a game, I think is poker.
So like everybody's on board. It is during spring break, so I expect a lot of families. So that's one thing we noticed. The room on board, what do we got here? An Oceanview, Caden?
Oh, it's this way. You can see the front of the ship.
Lots of storage, or as Caden called it, what did you call all the storage places?
Secret hiding spots. Like, there used to be a table right here. It's now right here, but
We've rearranged the room a little.
I used to like go between the beds and go under his bed because it had the most space. Because under my bed is the life jackets and
The life preserver? Okay, like we said, a lot of storage. One thing, there's no drawers in the room. So a lot of cruises you have like place to put underwear, socks, stuff like that. However, in this stateroom, you do not. Another thing that's kind of weird, the bathroom door. What with the door, like the latch? What do you notice about the latch? It doesn't want to latch all the time?
So the thing about the bathroom door, if you just come out of the bathroom or you're trying to go to the bathroom, you open the door, and then the thing that goes into the wall to like hold it in place, that stays inside the door, and it works eventually like on the second time I do it.
So there's kind of a tip there. Sometimes you got to jiggle the bathroom door handle to get it to latch. One thing I'd say that is kind of difficult about this cabin, it's a little rocky tonight, but it is the shower. It's actually got a decent amount of room. However, the water pressure, as I'm about to show you, is a little lackluster. As you can see, like, you take the shower off, and I'm going to try to do this without getting wet, but you flip it on itself, very low water pressure, so yeah, just kind of heads up on that. The thing I noticed is when you set the AC temperature, it stays on there for like 10 minutes and then like shuts off. I'm not for sure if that's a user error or what that is, but that is one thing I've noticed.
It's probably something you have to use running for.
That would be weird. I always like a good meal. Caden likes a good meal. Where's the first place that we stopped off at when we got on board?
Buffet.
Buffet, yes. A lot of options there. What's your favorite station at the buffet?
Pasta station, and my dad's favorite station in the morning is the omelet station. Which is at the same place than the pasta station.
It is. They always got omelets and then pasta in the afternoon and evenings, and then lots of different other dishes. They have a vegetarian area. They have your typical hot dogs and burgers. They have Asian food. Looks like some Indian food as well. So you definitely have a bunch of different culinary options there to choose from in the buffet. And of course, you got the dessert station. And one thing that's nice on this ship is I think I've counted it officially. There is 6 ice cream machines. However, I did notice 2 never had handles in them. But at each corner of the buffet, there is an ice cream machine. But towards the back, there's 2 more that they never had handles on them. What was?
Oh, I know why. You know how at the original ice cream station that we always go to when we leave? That one always has ice cream peeking out if it has ice cream in it. And those ones never had that.
No, they didn't. They must have just...
They're probably not good with ice cream.
They must have been just broke. But one thing that's also nice here on Norwegian, on the Getaway, there are 7 complimentary dining options on board to choose from, which you got, of course, 3 main dining rooms, and then you have places like Oceanview, Shanghai Noodle Bar, American Diner.
I like Oceanview.
Oceanview. They have the wonderful, the pretzels.
And the mac and cheese, it was good on the first day, but on like all the other days, it had this weird spicy taste to it for me. For my dad, he just said it was good.
And I mean, everybody has a different taste, so that's something you may enjoy. Ocean's is great because it is available 24 hours a day. That way, if you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you're hungry, it's a place you can stop and get a bite to eat. There is room service available. We did that one day. Actually, yesterday when I was feeling a little seasick, there is an $11.95 charge to that. With that charge, though, you can order as much as you want. It's just a one-time fee for each time you order room service. But, you know, everywhere we went, the food was pretty good. Not a lot of complaints from me. Specialty dining, we didn't really go to any specialty dining on board because by the time I thought to do it, it was too late. So that's one tip I would say. Make reservations if you want to go to these. Like I wanted to go to Steakhouse, and I just thought of that last night, and it was too late. So speaking of being too late, it's getting into our bedtime now, but you know, we're going to record this review and get this knocked out. The entertainment on board, there is the Getaway Theater. Unfortunately, we didn't go to any shows. We did go to the Levity Comedy show, I believe it was last night, where we saw 2 comedians. They each did a 15-minute routine. There was no like big theater shows that we went to. The theater on board's not very big, but from what I did hear, Burn the Floor, I think is the name of the show. Everybody on board said it was a good show. I just didn't make it. So what did you think of the comedy?
You said something weird that he said, does this shower make me look fat?
Does this shower make me look fat? And that is true. Like, the shower on board here is kind of small. Like,
really, really small. If even a kid stands in there and they're trying to go like this because they're cold in there, their elbow will touch this wall and their elbow will be 1 inch from touching this wall.
It's true. Like, there's not a lot of room on board.
No.
There is a lot of live music. You see that usually by the pool. A couple times a day there'll be a live band, and then different clubs. TV programming is available. How many movie channels are there? Just 2, right? And then 1 with TV shows. So you got a total of 3. So there's not a lot of options there. You can do the like pay-per-view movies. They're 9. Okay, he says 4, but there's 2 with movies.
Prime favorites.
Oh, I did. He's right. I did forget about the Prime favorite show. My fault. But that's kind of usually older movies. You can do the pay-per-view movies. They're $9.95 a piece. There's some newer titles in there, but not a lot of options. One of Caden's favorite places on board, and honestly mine usually, however this is a colder cruise, is the pools. But speaking of being colder, they are heated, but they are saltwater pools. So on this ship, unfortunately...
But on the kids' pool, don't worry, it's not saltwater.
It isn't?
Nope.
I thought it was saltwater. So it's not saltwater on the kids' pool?
Nope. That's what I like about it, and it also has slides. Like, there's this boat, and there's a big old slide. Some people might think that this is a ramp to get up, but there's 2 slides.
Downside to me on this ship, there are no indoor pools. There's a total of 3 pools. There's the main pool, which is about 6.5 foot deep ballpark. There's the kids, what I call the kids pool, which is divided into 2 sections. You have a 3 foot and you have a 4 foot, and then you have a little kids play area next to that. And then you do have the Haven pool, which is also outdoors. As you can tell, we're doing this by sitting on our beds doing the review, so we don't have, a Haven room. One thing that is cool though on board that Caden never got around to doing is there is 5 water slides, 2 drop, and then 3 regular slides on board. So
I wanted to do the purple one, but I'm like, it's too cold for that.
It is pretty cold outside. So the shops on board, the shopping, pretty standard stuff. I did have some issues trying to find something for some people back home.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Come on, but I gotta show you what we did.
For the shops, it's pretty standard. What you find on most ships, there's places you can buy watches and jewelry and things like that. There's also places where you can buy just like alcohol. You can buy stuff like that as well. Kind of have everything like that. And some of the biggest suckers I've ever seen, they do have
a bunch of, if you look somewhere around here, they do have a bunch of flavored suckers inside. If you look right there, you can see them.
I don't even know how much these things were, but got a couple kids back home that I'm going to share those with. So
Alright, I'm going to put these up. You keep talking to them.
Okay. So the technology on board is one thing I always like to discuss. I did get the unlimited Wi-Fi package. That way I can message people back home. I do have that option. That being said, it wasn't super fast. On board with their all-included package, you do get 150 minutes of internet, but there is a charge to connect that, so just kind of heads up on that. There is touchscreens throughout the ship though, which is kind of a cool feature. That way you can navigate where things are and see what's going on. So with the internet on board also, there's 2 different packages. There's a standard connection package, which is good for checking emails. Facebook works really well, however TikTok and YouTube do not. Or you can get the streaming, which includes TikTok and YouTube and Netflix and things like that. So just kind of heads up on that. In conclusion, there are several things that went well. This ship is a really nice, modern, clean ship. Everybody on board works really hard. The staff is usually really friendly and helpful on board to help. So the food on board also is something that I think went really well. While I didn't get to use any of the specialty dining restaurants, the complimentary restaurants were just fine with me, and Caden enjoyed those as well. The mac and cheese, I think he kind of wasn't a fan of after the first day, but overall, most of the complimentary dining went really well. Of course, the staff is always pleasant. They're enjoyable to talk to. Things that could have gone better, I mean, the weather, obviously. The weather on board, it wasn't ideal. I don't recommend going to Bermuda in March. The seas are rough, but nobody can control the weather. That's nobody's fault. That's not the cruise line, the captain, the staff, nobody there to blame. It's just that time of year. Another thing that could have went better to me is the bathroom door not latching and sometimes latching. That's just kind of cumbersome. That's small things in the grand scheme of things, but we worked around it. So another thing that could have went better is some areas are extremely crowded. A good example of this is the kids club. The lines for when kids club opens,
they go from deck 12 to like deck 15.
They are long, and I imagine that's partially to deal with that everybody's on spring break. However, if you're on spring break during that time, just be prepared for long lines and waiting.
And waiting for like 1 hour.
And then probably waiting some more, and then like we saw people in line an hour before they opened. It was insane.
Because they want to be the first ones to this club, and they don't want to wait in this long.
But Caden didn't want to go to the kids club anyways, right?
It's awful.
But I do see a lot of places in NCL that there is room for upcharges. Like you do feel a sales pitch kind of everywhere you go. Whether, like, what was it? Last night we went to the comedy show and they were selling bingo tickets, even though there wasn't, or it wasn't bingo tickets. It was like pull tab tickets. They were selling those during the show, so. They're always trying to sell something, so that's kind of a heads up on that. Some tips and tricks, reservations is an important thing. So if you're thinking you want to go to the steakhouse, go ahead and reserve that before you even get on the ship. Get on the NCL app and go ahead and make that reservation. I think that will do you a lot of good. Do it quick, like Caden said. If you're looking for a good place to get a quick bite, Oceanview, every time I go on Norwegian, like I rant and rave about this place, but the idea behind it is great. You can go there anytime, day or night, and the food is pretty good. So like
for day, I don't like.
Another tip and trick is the Wi-Fi. You can use that on multiple devices, just not at the same time. You have to log out on one and then log in on another. That is something you can do. I actually didn't do that on this trip because
you have to like log out of it and log in.
It is kind of cumbersome, but it is doable. That way, if you want to go between your phone and your laptop, especially if you have to work and do emails, that's one thing that you can take advantage of. So if you found any of this information helpful, definitely hit that subscribe button. And in a small world, travel's large. Good night.